beautiful ball. Now it's Cristiano Ronaldo with a chance maybe to seal it, and he has taken it.
Lahm in all kinds of space. Lahm, Muller through. Muller could be embarrassing. It's three. Tony Kroos.
Olivier Giroud.
Barkley's found Klein with a speedy burst, and that's terrific from Vardy. Oh, what a goal by Jamie Vardy.
Hello and welcome to hashtag TFHP Euros podcast. It's your host Kris again here. It's day 3 and we've got another 3 games to talk about. I think we've got 3 games to talk about every day seemingly at the moment. It's football. And I'm joined by, once again, Drew. Good evening, Drew.
Hey, good evening.
I thought you'd been taken away for a minute.
No, I'm here. I had to press the unmute button.
We'll let you off. And we've also, for the first time this championships, we've got the producer and master at chief. We've got John back with us. Evening, John.
Good evening.
Welcome back. Have you missed us?
Yes.
That's a no, boys and girls. That is, if ever I heard a no, that was a no right there.
I didn't say that.
And for those asking, we haven't killed Tom. Tom will be back on tomorrow. He's just been waiting patiently for his I was going to say his orgy. I didn't really mean it quite to sound like that, but he's getting excited about Spain. So he'll be on tomorrow and he'll have plenty to talk about when they play Czech Republic. But we are here to talk about today's games, gentlemen. So let's start in order. We had Turkey and Croatia kicking off the day. Drew, I'm going to start with you. What did you make of this game? Turkey largely underperformed, or Croatia just a lot better side, or maybe a bit of both?
Well, I don't know. I feel like, we've spoken a lot about how much quality Croatia has, but I don't know. I don't think they were all that dominant, to be fair. I think, but I also think Turkey brought that much to the table. I think, I do think Arda Turan didn't perform as many expected, but that could be down to the fact that he didn't get a ton of football since his move to Barca from Atletico, so that may have something to do with it. Çalhanoğlu was very hit or miss, and a couple of the changes they brought on, a lot of people were talking about the fact that, maybe Yilmaz should be starting, maybe, Yunus Mali and Emre Mor should be getting a little bit more time, instead of going with, the traditional players. But again, this goes back to something we talked about yesterday, that a lot of coaches in the first match in a tournament will go with what they're familiar with rather than already putting quote-unquote risky 11s out there and switching things up. They want to go with maybe what got them there or what they're familiar with. So I think that might be a little bit of that. But no, it was good stuff for Croatia. Modric's goal was absolutely stunning. I think it's the goal of the tournament. But I do think I expected a little bit more from Croatia, given I wouldn't know if there's necessarily a gap in quality between the sides, but their pedigree is just a little bit higher. So they'll take the 1-0, but it could have been easily a draw. But I don't think Croatia was ever in danger of losing the match. But they'll get better. But started first match from everybody.
Absolutely, well summed up. I was a little bit disappointed in Turkey. But John, what did you make of your following Croatia a little bit? And I know you've had to catch up on some of the highlights this evening. But what did you make of Croatia overall? Because it was a game, watching it live, that really should have been out of sight way before it ended up being a sort of almost a close 1-0 in the end. But surely Croatia should have put this game out of sight. They had the chances to.
Yeah, it's weird. It's been kind of a theme of the tournament, to be honest. I think most of the games have gone the way people would have predicted, but it sort of seems like whoever has won the game has only done it by, in most cases, 1 goal, and probably should have scored more and then left themselves a little bit to worry in sort of the last 10 minutes of the game, and given up maybe some chances that they shouldn't have. They got a bit unlucky. I think there's a couple of strikes hit the post during the game, and Turkey had that sort of one chance towards the end, like one real clear chance. The Turkish keeper, who's Babakan, wasn't it, in goal? Yeah. He made some good saves. So I think, like Drew said, there perhaps a little bit of nerves, which again has been something I've seen in a lot of the teams, which maybe surprised me. I'd be interested to know what the average age is, sort of overall, of all the teams after match day 1, because I'm trying to work out why teams aren't quite performing to the level they should be. I don't know if it's maybe we've overrated everyone, or there is maybe more youth at the tournament. and it hasn't really been picked up on. I'm not sure because I mean some of the sides I've seen have there's a lot of players I know and been around for a while, so it's hard to put your finger on it. I think the one thing Croatia have got is the problem is that as good as Mandzukic is as a target man, his lack of mobility is going to be an issue for him going forwards. And I love the guy. I think he's great. But when you've got such creative players like Rakitic and Modric, and like Drew said, Modric's goal was fantastic. It's easily goal of the tournament so far. Brozovic, you've got Kovacic and all these other players on the bench you can bring on. To have someone a bit more mobile. I know they did bring on Kramaric right near the end, but if they had someone more consistently they could bring on reliably who they trusted to perform for more minutes, I think there'd maybe be a bit more of a threat. But really good start for them, getting 3 points in what is a tough group. Certainly, it makes it a lot safer for them, more likely to get through to the next phase.
I think they were definitely impressive, as I say, and I very much enjoyed watching that sort of trio of Rakitic, Perisic, and Brozovic just in behind Mandzukic. That was quite fun at times to watch.
Modric was an absolute delight to watch today as well.
Oh,
he was brilliant.
Isn't he always?
Really good.
What a player. Drew, what do you sort of think of these two teams overall? Because obviously it's in a group where it should, in theory, be quite a competitive group. If you're looking at the size, obviously you've got Spain and Czech Republic to come tomorrow, but it's four arguably well-matched sides. I know Tom won't thank me for saying that, but if you take what Spain did in isolation, at the last World Cup, for example, if you take where Spain are, I think it'd be fair to say they're a little bit more in transition than they were at the last tournament. So is this group kind of anyone's if somebody can get off to a decent start? If you look at Czech Republic and Spain maybe drawing, maybe this is wide open.
I mean, I guess you could say on paper you would say that it's more wide open, or maybe one of the more even groups of the tournament. But honestly, if you look at face value, Spain, I think for me, it is ahead of the group. And Croatia, as we all discussed, before we even started doing the preview pods, that Croatia should be sliding in right behind them in regards to quality. But, then you look at the qualification campaign, look how well the Czech Republic did. Turkey bested the Netherlands for that best third place spot, So it is even in that regard. But, I mean, I don't know. I still feel like I'll be shocked if Spain don't win the group. But then again, I also wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. I wouldn't be shocked if Croatia stuttered in the next two matches because the Czechs won't be easy, and then you have to deal with the Spanish. So for me, it's certainly the toughest group, I think, from top to bottom. But it doesn't mean I expect surprises necessarily either. I think because Spain are going out and looking to set the record straight from the World Cup, and sometimes it's a good thing. They're putting faith in the right players in certain positions rather than maybe public opinion that you see from other nations. So I still would pick Spain to 7 points from Spain. I think would be fair to suggest.
Yeah. It's a close group, and as you say, even if you put Spain through, it's a real shootout between the other three. But I can't quite get my head around how poor Turkey were. One thing that wasn't poor was the atmosphere. It was really good, really good atmosphere in these games. In fact, to be fair, most games have had some fantastic atmosphere. But yeah, it was a decent game to watch. But nevertheless, Croatia coming out with a 1-0 win, which should have been a lot more comfortable, and they obviously topped the group ahead of Spain's game tomorrow.
Before we move on from this game, there's a brilliant vine going around of from Modric's goal and the camera angle, and apparently it's been shown all over Turkey, and the Turkish people are not very happy with Ozan Tufan. As he's walking out from the ball being cleared, headed out from the box, he's just sort of strolling out the 18-yard box, just a little puff of the cheeks, like, oh, relax, and just running his hand through his hair as the ball is falling through the air for Modric about to absolutely lash it into the back of the net.
Not amused.
No, and the Turkish fans were sort of going, but yeah, maybe if you'd taken your chance at the other end and closed Modric down, you can blow your cheeks out then and play with your hair afterwards.
Yes, I think that definitely.
Nothing gets missed these days, does it?
No, we're not in this world of thousands of cameras and whatnot. Just before we leave this game, Drew, I just want to get your thoughts on a young man that you'll probably see a bit more of as a Dortmund fan, young Emre Moore, related to Dudley, I think. No, not really. He's playing in Nordsjælland in Copenhagen. He's got quite an interesting backstory reading into. Apparently, he's been getting the bus to Copenhagen, like into training every day. He lives in a very sort of basic apartment, like a bedsit. He's very no frills. He's going to have quite a change when he rocks up in Dortmund. So, what did you make of his cameo when he came on?
I think I like that. I think he brought something different than what Turkey was offering up to that point. I tweeted with a couple watchers, when he came on and after the match, and he brought pace, directness. His technical ability has been lauded to be very, very solid. So it's a type of younger player that, if you look at it, that Dortmund hasn't brought in this summer. The likes of, they also brought in Dembele as well. So that's what you're going to get from him, which is why I think, at least initially, Fatih Terim wants to bring him off the bench because he brings something different. But sometimes you might have to use that from the start. Someone like him can come in from the first minute and really wear down an opposition to where then you can bring someone else on who then capitalize on his work rate and effort. And, so it depends on what you want to use. But I was impressed with him. I think it was a good cameo. I don't know if he's going to start this tournament, but for whatever it was, 15, 20 minutes, I thought he did his reputation a bit of good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He does. It's hard to judge, of course. Again, in this age where we judge everyone instantly and think they're superstars, but he did look pretty impressive. So, certainly one to keep an eye on, and we'll touch on future stars throughout this tournament, I'm sure. Let's move on then. Move on to another game, another group. In fact, Group C, which contains Poland and Northern Ireland. First up, they were the second afternoon kickoff. John, I'll start with you. Poland, they impressed me, if I'm honest. I know I don't want to be harsh on Northern Ireland, but Northern Ireland, I think even their fans would admit there's a lot of limited players in their side. I think one of the lads is from Fleetwood. I think it was one of the fullbacks. So they're playing within their means, and they really stacked the midfield and tried to play deep. But despite not taking a lot of chances, Poland did look a pretty good outfit. What did you make of them from what you saw?
I think it's actually both the fullbacks for Northern Ireland. I mean, someone please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was both of them are League One players or something like that. Which is, you think this level being a League One player, I mean, it's fantastic for them, but it really is digging deep into it. Poland were really impressive. We said Drew was talking about how many goals they scored in the qualifying. That's a great sign, but when you get to the sort of higher level. Tournament level, it's always going to be harder to get the goals. But Northern Ireland really did look out of place in comparison to Poland. I'm annoyed Lewandowski didn't get the goals because I got absolutely no points so far in our fantasy football league. Cheers, Robert. And some bloke who plays for Ajax apparently, Milik got the goal. It was a very good goal. But they were just really impressive. Poland, very good technically. I thought defensively that they weren't really tested, but we know how good they are at that. They've got a very good defender in Glick anyway when they come up against better opposition. Zielinski didn't even get on. Who's a really exciting player who I'd like to see play. They've got some decent depth in the squad, so they're going to be the game against Germany is always a big game anyway. But that's going to be really interesting to see just how good this Polish side are. Because Germany certainly looked good as well tonight. But yeah, really impressive them. Again, you need to see them against no disrespect to Northern Ireland, but you need to see them against better opposition to get a better reading. But looks impressive.
Agreed. The Northern Ireland fullbacks, it was Conor McLaughlin, who is of Fleetwood Town, and Shane Ferguson of Millwall. So that was definitely lower end. And when you consider their back three was Johnny Evans, Gareth McCauley, and Craig Cathcart, all veterans essentially of Premier League days gone past.
They've got like a sort of a mix of soon to be retiring Premier League players, which is nothing wrong with having that in the squad. That's great. That's really good for experience, but they just they haven't got the quality at this level. And they got, to be fair to Northern Ireland as well, they got a really tough group. It's not an easy group at all. I think it's their first championship since like 1986 or something like that. I think.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Off the top of my head, I know it's 1980 something. But good news is Cole Lafferty got the Belfast airport named after him whilst the Euros was on.
Yes, he did.
Well, whilst Northern Ireland are in it anyway. Yeah. So.
Yes, yeah, he did. That was that amusing. So, of course, formerly the George Best airport. So yes, it's super stuff. But Drew, what did you make of Poland? Obviously, your boy Milik, you said to look out for pre-tournament. You said he'd get the nod, and the nod he did. He missed I wouldn't say a routine chance, but a fairly clean-cut chance, and then went on to probably score a slightly more difficult chance. But overall, his performance and Poland in general, were you sort of impressed with what you saw?
I think I was, but I think Northern Ireland just didn't really offer anything at all, from 1 to 90 minutes. So I feel like they'll be disappointed in the scoreline, because this is a tournament where, with the expanded field and third place being crucial and being in a group with the Germans, they're going to want to maximize their goal difference. And I think this is a match where they really should have had 2 or 3. John brings up the Milik miss, and I think he should have been tucking that away. But that's his first miss, or first chance rather, in his first major tournament as a youngster. So a little bit of nerves probably, but he did very well on the second clean-cut chance. He put it away, but I was impressed. I thought they did well. I think, who was the youngster on the left? I forget. The name escapes me at the moment.
If it's the guy I'm going to bring up, it's Bartosz Kaputska.
Yes. Kaputska did very, very well. He shows that, we haven't even seen Zielinski or Grzycki. Grzycki wasn't fit. Zielinski, a lot of people praise him pretty highly, and you and John as well see him at Empoli a lot, and you have high hopes for him too. So they have a lot of quality, and I think the dark horse label for them is justified. And it shows you that with Navalka wanting to go with the 4-4-1-1 with starting Milik for a reason, because you saw how well Northern Ireland snuffed out Lewandowski all match long. If that's a different formation without a second center forward in the mix, Poland might not get a goal that day. But because everyone's so distracted with Lewandowski, Milik can pop up and has the quality to actually show up when Lewandowski might not, and then vice versa. And it makes it really hard to mark them both and then leave someone like Blaszczykowski open, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of tactical flexibility that they have. There's a lot of quality throughout the side. I thought, also, we didn't even mention it, but Krychowiak was brilliant in keeping so much pressure on Northern Ireland when they even got the ball. So you really have to peg them as that they might give Germany a headache or two for sure. I think they did very, very well.
Yeah, I'd agree on Krychowiak. I thought he was exceptional, and as you say, the Lewandowski, that's an excellent point, because they were constantly just trying to mark Lewandowski, and that gave Milik a lot of space in that hole in behind. So I completely agree with that. John, I know you didn't see this one live as such, but this young player that Drew mentioned there, Bartosz Kaputska, not a name that many would have been familiar with prior to this tournament. He's 19 years of age, still actually playing in Poland for Cracovia Krakow. I don't think he'll be there long if he puts in the performances like he did today. Is this going to be, in your opinion, the tournament where we do see sort of more players than usual break through and make names for themselves that we may not have heard a lot about? Because it seems to be increasing tournament in, tournament out these days. Yeah,
I mean, I think, it's like Drew said, I was definitely disappointed Zielinski didn't get a chance. But, this young lad played really well. And if you get that opportunity, you've got to take it. It kind of feels it's strange. The defences around Europe aren't amazing, but if you sort of look around like really, really outstanding forwards throughout the tournament, you obviously talk about Lewandowski, but then you look through the rest of the teams and there aren't many like sort of big line names. Ronaldo is not really a striker, and Ibrahimovic, yeah, okay, he is, but he sort of plays more of a number 10 and he's more the creator. So there's a chance for these sort of players who could come on and really make an impact in a game. We talked about Bernardeschi at Italy, and this young lad here for Poland. And if you can come out and do something and make an impact on a game and create something or get a goal or get your team in that position, you're gonna take that, because none of the teams, even the really good sides like Spain and France, none of them have this sort of big superstar striker. So if you're that player who's a winger or a centre mid who can get forward and make something happen or score a goal, then you're really going to make your name for yourself here. And it's always the best platform. You always get it at big tournaments. There's always some sort of breakout player. I'm trying to think back to the World Cup. Obviously people knew who Goetze was, but he hadn't really done anything, and then all of a sudden he pops up in the final with a goal. It's just sort of written for that.
Yeah, there's definitely a few to keep an eye on, as a few that we sort of previewed in our preview show to look out for. But you just get the feeling there'll be the odd one that nobody will really even call, and they'll just come out of nowhere. Think back to sort of James Rodriguez in the last World Cup.
Yeah,
that kind of
Yeah, he was a name. It was like, oh yeah, okay, I kind of know that guy. He's that kid. Oh right, okay. And everyone was like, wow. Every time they played, you just wanted to watch Hammers because it was just amazing. And I think like everyone, sort of around the world was cheering them on because you just wanted to see more of Rodriguez playing.
Yeah.
Sort of become an honorary fan. The one thing for listeners to learn though is never listen to any of my predictions because I think every player I've picked for my fantasy football or every player I've picked so far to do something impressive in a game has either not played, only come on as a sub for 5 minutes, or he's like got themselves injured or something in the training. So
Yeah,
my usual curse is working perfectly.
It is, isn't it? Not a good day for me either. I had Lewandowski in mine as well, and we will, of course, as the podcast goes on, we will keep you up to date with who is leading. In fact, I might give you a little update at the end of this podcast as to who's leading.
Oh, we should do like a little a tweet out and tweet the person's name out for after the end of match day 1, whoever's top of the league.
We can do that. The only thing is a lot of people have put their names, not their Twitter handles, so I don't know who they are. So I'll have to just put literally their name. So
we can put their team up or whatever.
Yeah. Keep an eye on our Twitter feed. I'm sure we'll highlight.
Certainly not me. Last time I looked, I was 49th. So yeah.
I shall have to look. I shall have to find out where we all are in a minute. And Drew, just before we leave this game, Northern Ireland, you touched on them previously. Obviously, I think really realistically they're going to enjoy their time there. The fans certainly enjoyed their time there. They didn't offer a lot quality-wise, but do you see them as, I hate using this term, but are they the whipping boys of the group, or do you think they might pull something out against maybe a Ukraine in the last game? I can't see them getting anything off Germany at the moment.
No, I think I think Germany might really read them the right. Like, I think the only chance they have for getting a point is Ukraine, but as we just saw, Germany won 2-0 against Ukraine, which we'll come on to later, but it's not like the Ukraine didn't threaten. It's not like they didn't have their chances, and the quality is there for the Ukraine to bounce back from a loss and show well in their next match. So unfortunately, they got really the short end of the stick, and they got a tournament favorite, a dark horse, and a team that has two of the most exciting wingers at the moment in European football. So it's really difficult for them. And as we spoke with Ross in the WhatsApp group, whether it feels during the match or before the match, that Northern Ireland's under no illusions. They're not here to think they can get out of the group or even get a best third place finish. They're there to enjoy the experience of being back in an international tournament. If they even get a point, they'll be excited about it. So I just, poor luck. I don't see them doing much in the tournament, but it's great that they actually came. It's great that the fans still are enjoying the experience. It's good that the players are enjoying the experience, and they're going to make the most of it. And maybe they can even build on the fact that they made the Euro and maybe put together a really good showing in World Cup qualifying. You never really know, but this will be a stepping stone. It won't be a goal for them to get out of the group. It'll be one step in the building process for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the experience, isn't it? Especially for some of the teams, as you say, it's their first qualifying in years, and they're there on merit, and they're going to enjoy it. Of course, there is the best third place team situation for them, maybe. So who knows? But we'll keep tabs on them. But we'll move on to the final game of the evening then, which is probably the one that most people are most interested in us talking about, which is the as Drew mentioned there, the Germany game. 2-0 victors, the Germans, over Ukraine, who again I must admit I was quite disappointed with for long periods. For such a talented front 3 or 4 players, they didn't offer a lot. Drew, I'll start with you as a man following Germany. Did this convince you? I thought Germany had played really well for long spells, but the one Achilles heel that I think a lot of people thought they'd have was still there tonight, and that was defensively and probably the centre forward option, which we'll come on to in a minute. But defensively, is there cause for concern there, despite a fairly comfortable win?
No, there still is, and I think we've talked about this quite a bit. We talked about it on the preview pod. I think I brought it up yesterday in the post-match pod. For me, their issue is absolutely defensively, and I know that missing Hummels, didn't really help. He wasn't just quite fit yet, so I'm sure he'll be ready for Poland. But yeah, you have Ukraine, who they have quality out wide. Kovalenko, I thought, did fairly decently in his first appearance in a major tournament through the middle. So, the Ukraine had the quality to push forward, and I think they maybe were a little bit unlucky not to get a goal. Or they tested Neuer quite a few times, and Neuer is Neuer. He came up big when it mattered most. But for me, that's going to be the issue when they come up against later on in a tournament when everyone is fit and firing, and when everyone's gotten their the feet on the ground and they're in a bit better form, and they've worked themselves into the tournament playing wise. I think it might come back to bite the Germans in the ass. You have to excuse my French, but a side like, I don't know, the French, Spain, maybe some of the other teams, they might really threaten Germany in that area. And for me, I know Hodes and even Mustafi are, I guess you could say, versatile at the back, but they're not traditional wingbacks for that side. And even through the middle, I think Germany kind of struggled a bit or two. So I think that'll be their Achilles heel for sure. And as for center forward, I know Jurgen likes to use the false nine. So you have Götze, Draxler, and Müller. They're always interchanging, swapping sides, through the middle or on either flank. But sometimes I think you just need someone like Marigoas to come in, settle that ball that Toni Kroos can play. Or if Ozil will give it to him on his feet, and then people can make runs off of him. Much like you'd see other center forwards play, like I guess Giroud for an example, because he's familiar to us. So sometimes I think Jurgen Loh can tinker too much, and I think that sometimes can produce poor results. But we'll see how it goes. But I don't know. I do have my concerns. I don't think Germany are without issues in this tournament. I think the right team can expose them at the wrong time if they're not careful.
Yeah, I definitely saw the same as you. What did you think, John? Looking at focusing on Germany first of all, did they sort of impress you? Because we have had a question which we'll get to. In fact, we'll get to it now, which is from our good friend Ellis Mel. He wanted to know about sort of who was the standout team of the tournament so far, and we all said when we looked at the question, it's too early to judge, but have Germany arguably been or put in the best performance, maybe other than England, as a team, sort of at this tournament so far? And what did you make of them overall in the fixture tonight?
Yeah, I think probably Germany have been the best team I've seen so far. I wouldn't say it was over 90 minutes though, because there was spells where Ukraine had a few chances, particularly towards the end of the first half. There was the really good clearance from Boateng. I'm sure his legs seem to grow like an extra foot. I don't know how he contorted his body like that.
Unreal.
Yeah, really, really amazing defending. And some really good skill as well. Yarmolenko, wasn't it? Yeah. Sadly didn't see enough of him tonight from Ukraine's point of view. But like Drew said, Germany, they're so frustrating to watch. Defensively, we always knew there was going to be a problem. Boateng I love. I think he's brilliant, and I think if Hummels next to him is a very good centre back pairing. Fullbacks, I don't know what it is with Germans and just not having fullbacks. I know Lahm retired, but really, is there just no one else? I don't get it at all. You've got so many talented footballers from that country. It's so bizarre. The midfield is fantastic. Toni Kroos. I will praise him amazingly, but my God, why would you let a player of that ability have 10 yards of space around him for an entire game in every single direction? Just wasn't closed down once. And I know Ukraine was sitting deep and trying to hit on the counter, but you can't let someone with a player of that quality all that time on the ball. Needless to say though, he was fantastic. But again, the forward line, I don't. And this is not me having a dig on Götze. I can talk about him separately, but why you don't just play a striker, I don't get it. I understand the fluidity and the changing of the front three, and that's all very exciting. But when you have Thomas Müller, who plays from the right a lot for Bayern Munich anyway, and will drift inside and will still get goals, and you have Julian Draxler, who is perfect playing, any of those three sort of positions behind a striker, just play Mario Gomez. I really don't understand why you would play him there. Okay, I know maybe he hasn't been in the greatest league ever, but he's a striker. He's done it before. He knows this level of football. And the players in that team are good enough to play around him and bring the best out of him. I really didn't understand that decision. Other than that, yeah, Germany have been by far the most impressive team. They look the most relaxed. Whether it's they are the world champions, so they didn't look particularly too phased, even when they gave up a few chances which they really shouldn't have in a game that they were pretty much in full control of for the majority. They didn't worry about it. They didn't get too nervous or edgy or anything. Ukraine, to be fair, didn't offer too much. It was only really flashes from Yarmolenko when they were getting forward. Like Drew said, I think the young lad Kovalenko did really well for his first international tournament. He ran his socks off. He looked absolutely exhausted when he came off the pitch. But some of the tactics from UK were a little bit strange. The amount of room they were giving Germany in midfield was very odd. But I don't know. There's something not quite there with Germany. And again, to echo what Drew said, I think when they come up against better opposition, it's going to be a lot tougher for them.
I mean, just to jump in real quick, Chris, I know this wasn't planned, but if you look at it, I think the reason why Lowe does it is because I think Germany has a lack of right back quality right now. I think that's why Lamb hitting that point, retirement came at the wrong time. You could really only on the back of play of the season domestically, you can only really maybe cite Mitchell Weiser, Matthias Ginter, and someone like Danny DaCosta for right back. But Danny DaCosta isn't ready yet for me. Matthias Ginter is actually a center back or holding midfield who played right back for Dortmund, did excellently there, but it's the same thing. He's not traditional right back. And then, Mitchell Weiser only had one really good season under his belt under Hertha Berlin, and he's too forward thinking to play right back for Germany because then they'd be completely caught out a lot. So I think he's gone with center backs who he knows he can trust defensively to put them there on the right. But still, for me, it's a big weakness. And then again, I think John's absolutely spot on where if you have a center forward, just play the center forward. People would probably disagree, but you could even use Lucas Podolski there. He's had more time at center forward than Mario Götze has at club level. So, and his goal scoring pedigree for Germany is fantastic. So you could even try that over someone like Götze. And if you're worried about interchangeability, there's nothing to suggest that Podolski and Draxler couldn't swap all match long from left and center. So for me, it's also quite puzzling. And I tweeted about it before the match. It didn't come back to really bite them, but I think it might against a team who defends a little bit better as the tournament goes on. So yeah.
Would sorry, Chris, before you jump back in, would Jonathan Tah not be worth a try? Has he ever played right back? I mean, because I know Howard has played left back before and did it at the World Cup.
Right. I mean, not that I know of, and if he has, I don't think it's been to the point where it'd be an option. I know he's in the side, and but I don't. I think if that was an option, he would have tried it already. And they dropped Sebastian Ruddy from the team, and they were thinking about giving him time at right back, but he's not even in the side anymore. So, because he played there at times for Hoffenheim this year, not enough for me to warrant him starting in the Euro. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he only played there 2 or 3 times tops for Hoffenheim this season. So again, Germany are just struggling for that position right now, and I think that's one of their biggest weaknesses for sure.
I guess it'd just be, once Hummels is back, it maybe is slightly looking a bit more solid anyway at the back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a couple of calls. I saw one for Christian Trush, which he's a player I've always quite liked. I know he didn't have the best of seasons, but yeah, there seems to be enough talent there. But then Germany aren't alone in crowbarring players into positions just to sort of.
Yeah, I think maybe also with. It's funny because we although we're not exactly, we are from England, but we're not exactly England fans, but we do comment on the team and sort of complain about, you're just trying to get all the best players in rather than trying to get a team that works. But maybe we're not looking at the fact that Germany have you must be this level of ability to be in the national team, and we're just going, well, that guy's a left back, he's quite good, but he hasn't actually hit quite the, gone past the watermark, as it were.
Yes, it's very difficult, isn't it? Very difficult to judge like what players are, and of course with a coach like Jogi Löw, you would imagine you'd like to think anyway, he knows what he's doing. So yeah. We'll put our faith in him until it spectacularly backfires. Just want to get both your thoughts very briefly on Ukraine, because again, this group, if you look at it, you would argue that Poland, and Ukraine are facing off to get through potentially with the Germans. They just didn't. I don't want to what it is tonight. They just seem to have the tactics wrong. John, you mentioned about the Tony Cruz thing. They sat off way too deep, and it just didn't seem to lift their game at any point. What did both of you make of Ukraine in general? I'll start with Drew.
I mean, I just think, for me, I would probably say I think they were trying to limit the amount of damage suffered in the first match because of things like best third place. I think when you throw that into the mix, which is something that hasn't really been done before, managers are now worried about their goal difference more than they probably would have before. If this was just a usual 16-team tournament, I think that maybe Ukraine would have been a little more open. They would have tried to at least get a point. But when a tournament favorite is your first opponent in your first match, when you're not going to be tip-top playing level yet as a team. Maybe Fomenko was thinking, maybe just, go in there, try to play for a draw, and if we lose, we limit the amount of, damage on the scoreboard. And then, as we work our way into the tournament, really take our chances against Northern Ireland and maybe from Poland. For me, I think that was his thinking. Obviously I have no confirmation of that, but just on the balance of play, that's what I noticed. They were only adventurous to a point, and then, honestly, as much as Yarmolenko and Kovalenko as they tried, they were pretty isolated because, Sidorchuk and Stepanenko, they were just, even the fullbacks or center backs, they would just clear it and then hope for the best. And against someone who are as well drilled as Germany, that's not going to work, at least in the long run. They did create a chance or two, but it wasn't enough to really give the Germans a moment of pause. And against Germany, you have to really put them on their back foot, as if you would do it kind of almost against Bayern, where if you let them control the match and really get going, you're probably not going to win. So, I think, but moving forward, I think we can expect more from them as they really find their footing in France. But I think this is just, I think if they were playing Northern Ireland, we would have saw a different Ukraine. But the fact that they were playing Germany, I think they sort of they didn't want to go out and lose 4-0 if they wanted to play open, which they could have easily done, so.
I think you make good points there, and John, they do play Northern Ireland in the next game. So, as Drew touched on it there, do you think they have to change their whole approach in that game? And did they arguably look at tonight's game and think, well, we're probably going to lose that, so let's put our focus in the next two?
Yeah, I think probably their aim for tonight was probably try and get the draw. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with playing, letting Germany have the ball, because they are likely to have it for most of the time, and trying to have Yarmolenko and Konoplyanka as sort of your outlet balls and trying to hit on the break and get behind, because Germany do tend to play quite high line, and we know Neuer likes to come out of his goal and have a little do keepy uppies when he gets bored and all that sort of thing. Notice he didn't go quite full Neuer tonight.
No, not quite.
But just some of the tactics. I just thought, if you're gonna press their midfield a little bit from a certain distance, then if you're gonna pick one of their players to have the ball go and pick it up, if you're gonna pick one out of that Germany midfield, you probably would rather it be Sami Khedira than Toni Kroos. And that's not knocking Sami Khedira; he's a brilliant footballer. I really like him, but he hasn't got the same ability on the ball as Toni Kroos has. It's still a very difficult tie, but I just think the tactics were a little bit off tonight, and they were just perhaps not quite adventurous enough. Because you saw in the one or two times when they did, get the ball out to Yarmolenko, Konoplyanka, they caused some issues. And I think it was Sidorchuk? Is that his name? They got the triple nutmeg.
Yes.
I know in the end it didn't quite come to anything, but that was really nice. And so they've got some good players, but I think probably tonight was try and get a point. That'd be a good result, and then Northern Ireland is a game where we try and get 3, and then see where we are come the last game of the group against Poland. The other notable thing I did notice, which I didn't realise before the tournament, is that, oh my God, Timoshuk is still in the national team.
I said that, didn't I, in the preview? Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, I must have that just must have gone straight over my head. 37.
I know, yeah.
I know Buffon's old, but he's a goalkeeper, so you're like, oh, okay, you can get away with it.
Yeah, and then you when the camera cut across the benches of the Ukraine, you saw Andrei Shevchenko, who's part of the coaching staff now, and he still looks younger than Timoshuk. So that is, yeah.
That's got to be one of those moves where you're not going to play, but you have to be here to keep like the youngsters level-headed.
You would imagine,
give them a bit of like morale boosting experience, someone to learn from. There's no way he's playing in this tournament, though, for sure. That's got to be like a move to just keep him involved for the betterment of the team.
Or maybe a future coach, sort of get him integrated, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's. Yeah, lovely hair. I do remember lovely hair. But yes, and the guy you referred to, Sidorchuk, I think is the guy. Yeah. Good name. That strong name, like it. And do keep an eye. I mean, there are Ukraine-wise. I know a lot of people look at it and go, oh, it's Ukraine, I won't bother. But I think they'll be worth a watch, even if it's against Northern Ireland, because that front three. In behind Suzuya was decent, and I think they'll come good. And Yarmolenko wasn't at his best tonight, but he's a very decent player, and we know Konoplyanka and Kovalenko are. And keep an eye on Zivchenko, who came on briefly, 15 minutes to go, didn't do a lot, but trust me, this kid's going to be something very, very special. I think he's going to be a real star. So keep an eye on him. But let's before we wrap up the show, we'll just have a sort of a quick glance ahead to what's to come, and of course we'll pick our hipsters' choices of the day, and I might have to adjudicate. So we've got Spain, Czech Republic, Republic of Ireland, Sweden, Belgium, Italy tomorrow. So Drew, Spain, Czech Republic, just very briefly, which way do you see that one going?
I mean, what do you think? It might not. I don't think it's going to be necessarily a complete, thrashing, but I do expect Spain to get, 3 points for sure. Maybe I'll go with, I don't know, 2-1 Spain. Yeah. I guess.
Fair. Sweden, Ireland, I'll take care of just because I'm following Sweden, and I think that will be a pretty dull, close 1-goal game. I can't see that being remotely entertaining, sadly, but I hope I'm wrong, and maybe Zlatan will light it up. We shall see. But
I've got that down as a draw, so I'm definitely don't bet on that because I've got everything wrong so far.
Expect it to be a 5-4 win for Sweden then. No, I think it's a 1-goal game or a draw, so I agree with you. I think a 0-0 or a 1-0 is a good bet in that one, whichever way you go. And John, what about Belgium, Italy? You're obviously following Italy. What do you reckon to this game? Because it's going to be the game everyone looks forward to of tomorrow's sort of matches. And do you see it being a close encounter?
I genuinely have no idea what's going to happen in this match. I really can't work it out. Italy at tournaments, it doesn't matter what state the team's in; they just pull results out. So the fact they're missing so many players and the forward line it's not dreadful, but it's just not the level it should be at for a nation like that. I think they can get a result. Again, Belgium, on paper, they look like one of the most exciting squads, probably one of the better squads. Again, 1 or 2 question marks over defence, which I think is a sort of theme running through the whole tournament. Other than that, going forwards, they're fantastic. They've got one of my favourite players in Kevin De Bruyne, who I think is amazing. Eden Hazard, can he turn it on after a pretty lacklustre season? We all know he's got the ability to. So it just depends. If Belgium turn up and play really, really well, then it could be an old school Italy back to the wall, everyone throwing their body on the line, and Belgium absolutely pounding them for 90 minutes, and then probably end up 0-0.
You're just really, really going for these predictions, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it's honestly, I really cannot tell with Italy because I don't know. There's a crazy rumor going around that Conte might play 3-3-2.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. You also can't really tell with Belgium either.
No, that's true.
We've also commented, they're in their second golden generation, if you will, for lack of a better term, but it's still. There's too many similarities to the traditional Dutch problem of so much individual skill, but can they bring it together from a unification standpoint? If they don't play as unified 11 on the pitch, they're not going to get the results they're expected to get at this point. And people are no longer keeping them as a maybe dark horse. Everyone thinks Belgium should be making semifinals just based off the back of team they're taking, the ability of a lot of their players, mostly who are based in the Premier League. So there's automatically that extra bit of hype and expectation there. So it's a lot of pressure for Belgium, and they have to perform. And it can't just be, let's just rely on Kevin De Bruyne or Eden Hazard. It's got to be back to front, left to right. They have to put in consummate team quality performances. And against Italy, that's going to be tough, especially in that first match where so many people are stutter stepping, if you will. No one can do in Italy better than Italy and sit back and say, okay, well, have fun. I'm going to have a bit of pasta. See you after 90 minutes, So it's, I don't know.
It's funny. Italy kind of the antithesis of what Belgium are, because despite the lack of quality because of some of the players that are missing, they obviously do still have it in Bonucci, in the sort of the back three and Buffon in particular. But Giaccherini may not be my favourite player ever, and he's not the greatest footballer in the world, but every single player in that Italian team knows exactly every single system they play, what they're supposed to do for 90 minutes, and if it goes to extra time, what they're supposed to do for the extra 30 minutes, and exactly how to take all their penalties. It's also drilled into them. It's like they're just born with that in their head. I don't know, it's just a weird Italian thing, but yeah, they're complete opposite. They're all teamwork and perhaps not as much talent.
Yeah,
and I don't know if Belgium has that same nailed down tradition yet, because they're just trying to redefine their tradition over the last decade, much like how Germany had to take stock and redefine things. But I think Germany's tradition is also rooted in the right areas that they kept on. I think Belgium had to. It's almost like they redid the whole thing from the ground up, and they're trying to rediscover things. So, but I think this is still a tournament of tests for them. I think if they don't win the group or at least get out of the group, I think it's got to be seen as an absolute massive failure. So there's going to be a lot of expectations on them from the first day, and that could really hurt them in the end, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. Well, John will be back tomorrow to talk about that game, I'm sure. And I've actually got a work meeting, so it's the first game I'm not going to be able to watch live. So I shall have to frantically try and catch up with that. So John, I'll be relying on you heavily to fill me in on how that game goes. But yeah, we'll be across, of course, all those 3 fixtures at this time tomorrow. So do tune in for that. Before we go, then, update on the fantasy football. The UEFA site is not letting me log in.
Oh, so, I've got the squad here. It's only done the points. Typical profession took ages. So the team at the top, someone called Ragab is top. Maddie's under 21s, 56 points. Just sort of scrolling through. I knew I was like 33rd. I see. Oh, Kris, good lord, you are 16th.
Oh, get in.
You are beating everyone else on the podcast. Unbelievable.
That is, Tina. We all know what happened with my previous episodes of fantasy football picking. So
Drew is 18th. He's just 3 points
2 behind me.
You. Yeah,
close.
So,
really? Oh yeah, but a lot of my players haven't played, so you shut up.
Yeah, I'm down in 33rd. I'm up places though. I'm on 27 points.
Good
my
time.
idea of making Lewandowski captain didn't work out so great.
No, as Giroud did for me. So sorry, that name again. Who's top again? Sorry, it was.
That was Ragab. R-A-G-A-B. I apologise if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I think it's Maddie under 21s. Looks like
Good.
Yeah.
Super well done to Maddie under 21s and indeed Ragab, if that's how you pronounce your name. If it's not, we really apologise, but at least it's not Danny trying to pronounce it, so it swings and roundabouts. But well done to you, keep it up, and we'll bring you updates as we go along after every couple of games. That's probably the way to do it. Before we sign off then, gentlemen, I need a player from you both. Your hipster's choice of the day. As usual, I'll give you both one answer, and I will adjudicate as to who I'm going to pick. So, John, who have you gone for over today's games?
Sorry, I had to go for Modric. Just had to be done.
You never need to apologise. It's absolutely fine. And Drew, did you go with the same, or did you have someone different?
For what, my player of the day?
Yes, across the 3 games. Yeah.
I don't know. I hate these questions, honestly. You can time me. Give me 10 seconds to give you an answer real fast.
Whilst Drew's thinking, I will tell you that Mr. Canton is down in 38th place.
Oh, ouch!
Is he?
He will not be happy with that. Not be happy at all.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom. We're thinking about you.
We'll have to find Ross as well, because he must be even further down in that case.
God.
Danger.
I'll also go with Modric, honestly. I think not just because of the goal, but I think he was a standout performer, and anything that positively happened, it kind of originated from him. So.
Interesting. Okay. Well, no adjudication to be done in that case, which is good for me because it saves me having to do anything. What I would say is that just to give him a little sort of a nod, the young Polish chap, Kaputska. I do want to give him another nod because I did think he was really good for a kid who's 19. I thought he was exceptional, so I'll give him a little nod, and maybe Bastian Schweinsteiger because that's the furthest I've ever seen him run after a goal.
Wait about a year it is anyway.
Yeah, he was
good finish though, very good finish.
Oh, very good finish, and an Ozil assist for a change. That's new, isn't it? But
just quick before we go, I found Ross. He's we've got 54 people in the league currently. Ross is 53rd.
Oh, Ross, you've had a shot.
He has gone up a place though.
We couldn't go down a place, could he? Let's be honest, not any further. Goodness me. Well, Ross, you need to get your game on, my friend.
His team is called Below Expectations.
He's living up to expectations. Oh dear, good. Okay, right, that will do us for tonight then. Thank you both to my co-pundits, if you will. Appreciate your time, gentlemen. We will be back, of course, tomorrow. As I say, it's John and Tom with me tomorrow, barring any natural disasters or anything the like. So we'll be back tomorrow. Just a very quick one. If you are downloading us via iTunes, I promise it's not our fault that it's not coming into the feed. I'm an iTunes subscriber myself, and mine isn't working either. So if you get trouble with iTunes, they are dropping into iTunes, but they're taking a little while to go through. So
you can still download it, but for some reason it's not coming. It won't automatically come in.
It won't automatically do it. Yeah.
For some reason. So if it's not there, if you just go and check for it in the store, you should be able to manually get it. It's a problem on iTunes or Apple's end, I should say.
Or if all else fails, you can try Stitcher. Seems to be updating after about a day. Or if not, our YouTube is released instantly, as is our website. So and you can download an MP3 from our website and put it on your desktop and drag it onto your generic phone or device. So feel free. But hopefully people will be able to get it. So just to let you know, it's not us. Blame Apple. Right, that's it for tonight then. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been day 3 of the Football Hipsters European podcast, or hashtag TFHP Euros for short. Keep tuning in, keep giving us your feedback, and keep enjoying the football, I have to say. So we shall return tomorrow with more games and more chatter. Until then, though, I shall say the immortal European words of this break, which is keep your pipes stoked and your satchel clean, and we will speak to you very soon.
Now it drops to Fabregas, who looks for Iniesta, who's onside! Spain score!
Hazard. Well, he is a match winner. Is this the moment? It is! Divock Origi!
There, and now Keller, and they now have the breakthrough.
Bale. To Greener!